The warm amber light of the Pinecrest clubhouse washed over me as I pushed through the heavy oak door. The scent of fresh-cut grass and barbecue smoke wrapped around me like a familiar cloak. To most residents of Pinecrest Estates, a Saturday night reservation here was a minor miracle, proof you knew the right people or had survived another round of HOA fines. For my parents, it was a stage, and tonight's performance was titled The Perfect Engagement. The reservation had been mysteriously comped, of course. They never asked how. They just accepted it the way they always accepted everything that made their perfect younger daughter look good. I spotted them across the gleaming dining room, tucked into a plush crescent-shaped booth. Layla, my younger sister, was the radiant center of their universe. Her laughter tinkled like crystal designed for an audience. She floated on a sea of my parents' compliments. And next to her sat Blake Harlan, all 31 years of polished tech bro confidence. He wasn't looking at his future bride. He was scanning the room, eyes sweeping over the exposed beam ceilings, the copper-topped bar, the constellation of hand-blown glass fixtures. It was the look of an appraiser, a conqueror sizing up new territory. As the product lead at some mid-stage startup called Nexus Flow Labs, Blake carried himself with the unshakable certainty of a man who believed he was perpetually disrupting the world, starting with our quiet gated community. I smoothed the front of my simple black sheath dress, the one I'd owned for years. It was elegant, understated, and functional. Beside Layla's jewel-toned runway number, it probably looked painfully plain. My only accessory was a thin, dark gray ribbon tied discreetly around my right wrist, the exact shade of the aprons worn by the clubhouse maintenance crew. A private nod to my roots, to the work I was supposed to be leaving behind for the evening. Blake's eyes flicked to me as I approached. They passed over my face, my dress, then snagged on the ribbon. A tiny, self-satisfied smirk flashed for half a second before vanishing. He'd seen it. He'd categorized me. "Elena, darling, you made it." My mother's voice rang out a little too loud, a little too bright. She was already beaming, champagne flute aloft. "Doesn't Layla look breathtaking, Blake? You are the luckiest man." "I know it, Carol," he said, voice smooth as poured concrete. He stood, offering a perfunctory air kiss that smelled of expensive cologne and ambition. My father was already on his favorite topic. The Oak Grove Pavilion is all booked for June. Can you believe it? The deposit alone. He trailed off, shaking his head with equal parts pride and martyrdom. The unspoken implication hung thick as barbecue smoke. Your HOA violation fines could never cover this. This is real life, Elena. What you do is just existing. Just then, Mr. Delgado, the clubhouse manager, glided over. A man of impeccable posture and glacial calm, he normally treated even the highest-profile residents with polite distance. "Elena," he said, voice a low, warm hum, bypassing my parents entirely. "So good to see you. Is the table to your liking? Anything you need, you just let me know." The tone was reverential. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Blake's eyebrow arch. He leaned toward Layla with a silent question. She gave a dismissive shrug. "Elena's here a lot. Regular, you know." Blake's expression settled. He chalked it up to the kind of familiarity a loyal, but clearly unimportant, resident might earn. Everything seemed perfect, until Layla seized the moment to reassert her dominance. "Oh, I have to show you the seating plan for the head table." She slid her phone across the polished wood. On the back of her hand sparkled a diamond the size of a small asteroid. "So we have Mom and Dad here, Blake's parents here, and us in the middle, and I was thinking we'll put you over here." Her finger landed on a smaller separate table near the notation marked Maintenance Staff Thoroughfare. "It's a great spot. You'll be right near the action, and you can, help out if the crew gets overwhelmed. You know how these community events are." The words were delivered with a sweet, guileless smile, as if she were doing me a favor, placing me with the help, because that's what I was to her. Blake chuckled, a low, condescending sound that slid into the stunned silence. He looked around the table, eyes gleaming with the thrill of a perfect punchline. Good, he announced loud enough for neighboring tables to hear. At least we got a rule breaker on standby. Someone who knows how to fetch those violation notices. The silverware stilled. My father's smile faltered. My mother's hand froze midair. For one crystal-clear moment, the only sound was distant clatter from the kitchen. A hot flare of adrenaline shot through my veins. My first instinct was to lash out. But I didn't. I took a slow, deliberate breath. I met his gaze, expression unreadable. I let the silence stretch until his jokes soured like cheap wine. When I finally spoke, my voice was even, quiet, and sharp as a freshly sharpened hedge trimmer. Enforcement, I said, eyes locked on his, is a skill most executives never master. The tension broke. My father jumped in too quickly, steering towards stock market talk. But the fault line had been exposed. A nervous young maintenance crew member approached with a bottle of wine, chef's compliments. As he poured, I caught the tiny embossed insignia on the label, a stylized pine tree with knowing branches. Vanguard Community Management Group. My group. My father, having changed the subject from my supposed professional inadequacies, now steered it toward a transactional one. Speaking of the engagement party, Elena, you must have some good contact from your work. Maybe you could call in a few favors. Help with the costs. The expectation landed like a $500 fine for grass 2 inches too long. It wasn't a request. It was an assignment. I was to leverage my little life for their grand affair. Blake saw his opening. He leaned in close, cologne cloying. Maybe you can toss in a tip while you're at it, he murmured, smirk returning full force. That's your language, right? Fetching notices and dodging fines. That was it. The final piece clicked. For weeks I had watched him, read the reports, analyzed the data. I had scheduled this dinner as the final test. And he had failed spectacularly. I didn't answer. I simply picked up my water glass, took a slow sip, and let the fire in my chest burn hotter. He thought my language was tips and violations. Tonight he would learn my real language, percentages, acquisitions, non-negotiable terms. He would learn the language of ownership. Blake's ugly whisper still hung in the air when a jovial voice boomed behind me. There's the happy couple. Sorry I'm late. Traffic from the club was murder. It was Uncle Ron, my father's cousin, a man who had sold a moderately successful chain of car dealerships in the 90s and had been dining out on it ever since. Blake's eyes lit up. Here was a man he understood, real business. He shifted into performance mode. Ron, glad you could make it. We were just having a laugh. Elena here, Layla's sister, we were saying how convenient it is to have a rule breaker in the family. She's going to chip in on the party setup, call in favors from the grounds crew. Right? Ron chuckled, patronizing. Layla tinkled her empty laugh. The table joined in. In that shared dismissive laughter, I took a quiet inventory of loyalty. My mother's eyes dropped to her napkin. My father looked away to a distant painting. Only my cousin Mara's jaw clenched, a flash of anger quickly smoothed. She saw it. The rest of the meal was a blur of boasts. Blake and Ron held court about seed rounds and user acquisition. My parents nodded along, impressed by words they didn't understand. Layla stared at Blake with nauseating hero worship. Finally, the dessert plates were cleared. My father reached for his wallet, but Mr. Delgado glided over first and placed the check presenter directly in front of me. Silence. Blake barked a laugh. Well, what do you know? Home turf. It's like instinct. The bill always finds the rule breaker. I didn't look at him. I simply opened the folder. There was no itemized bill. Only a single cream cardstock slip. Grand total, $0. At the bottom, bold, PCMG board, authorized by E. Voss, director. I slid the folder across the table until it stopped in front of Blake's plate. Since you're fluent in numbers, I said conversationally, read the footer. His smirk thinned. He read once. Twice. The color drained from his face. Director, Layla squeaked. Director of what? Like complaint coordinator. I took a slow sip of water. Vanguard Community Management Group. The group that owns and manages this clubhouse and the entire Pinecrest Estates HOA operations. All 287 homes, every fine, every rule, every dollar of your monthly dues. Blake forced a strangled laugh. A board seat. That's cute, Elena. Seriously cute. Hospitality, community management, it's a nice little side thing. Good for you. But tech moves the world. We build the future. We're not just mowing lawns. You're right, I said, leaning forward an inch. The whole table leaned with me. Tech does move the world. Then you'll love this. Tech and community management are permanently married at the exact point where operations bleed cash. A neighborhood isn't a cute little HOA, it's a high-volume, low-margin, real-time logistics nightmare. Perishable landscaping, human resource crises, and resident service infernos happening every single day. It's a data problem with human faces. And if you can't solve the data problem, you can't afford the human faces. Uncle Ron's head snapped up. Vanguard, that's not a little group. That's the PCMG portfolio, isn't it? You manage the entire Pinecrest contract. 14 years of service. I confirmed, eyes still on Blake. And my role as director? I track labor variance against predictive scheduling models. I optimize multi-property supply chain logistics based on real-time violation reports. When a crew member takes 12 extra steps to fetch a complaint form because of a poorly designed service station, I see it as a friction point that, scaled across 287 homes, costs us 3% on gross maintenance margins by quarter's end. Just then Mr. Delgado returned. MS. Voss, he murmured, voice carrying across the dead-silent table. We have the owner's table in the library prepared. Shall I have your party moved? The word owner landed like a gold bar. Layla made a choking sound. My parents looked bewildered. I smiled warmly at Mr. Delgado. Thank you, but we're fine here. This table is perfect. Blake's face was a mask of controlled fury and dawning horror. His joke, just a lazy rule breaker, was no longer a joke. It was a knife suspended over his own head by the thin thread of his arrogance. And I was about to cut it. I reached into my tote and withdrew a heavy cream envelope. I slid it across the table until it stopped in front of Blake. Since you like tips, I said softly, here's one. He fumbled it open. Inside, a non-binding term sheet for Harmony HOA platform, my quiet software project, and his desperate company Nexus Flow Labs. A proposed pilot across all Pinecrest properties. Base license fee, $0. If KPIs hit, full multi-year contract with ARR credit just enough to trigger his vesting grant. But then the clauses. Good character writer. All Nexus executives must complete 2 full weekend shifts as on-site compliance officers. No title, no disclosure, just a gray polo, clipboard, and name tag. Shadowing the crew. Learning the rules from the ground up. Then the respect and conduct clause. Any demeaning behavior toward any resident or crew member, judged solely by PCMG management, voids the individual's vesting credit instantly. Blake's face went blank. The personal compensation note on the last page. Project compensation for Blake Harlan, base salary $1. The rest you will earn on the grounds. The silence was absolute. Layla's horrified understanding dawned. This wasn't just a deal. It was meticulously crafted accountability. But it was also the only lifeline that could save his quarter, his grant, his career. He was trapped. I looked him dead in the eye. Consider it a tip for surviving real enforcement. Blake threw his head back and laughed. A horrible, grating sound devoid of humor. This is incredible. Performance art. You had this whole thing printed just for me. Wow, Elena. I'm almost impressed. No one joined him. Mr. Delgado materialized again. MS. Voss, I apologize for the interruption, but I saw the documents. Shall I ask your legal counsel from Kestrel Law to join you? He's dining in the private room tonight. The name Kestrel Law, one of the top corporate firms in the country, landed like a gavel. This was real. The offer was real. The trap was real. The rest of the dinner was a surreal pantomime. Blake said nothing. Layla vibrated with silent rage. My parents paid for their own car home. A first. Uncle Ron suddenly found me fascinating, peppering me with questions about cap tables and burn rates. When he shook my hand, goodnight his grip was firm with new respect. That was masterful, Elena. I didn't go home. I went straight to Kestrel Law downtown. By 4 a.m., the non-binding sheet had become an ironclad pilot agreement. The respect clause was now bulletproof. Any public or private demeaning behavior triggered immediate revocation. My lead counsel had drawn examples straight from years of resident complaints. My sole judgment was final and non-arbitrable. I triple-checked fail-safes on the Harmony platform. The pilot couldn't be clean. It had to be a stress test. Phase 1. Pinecrest Clubhouse. High touch, low volume. Phase 2. The gated perch pool area. 300 residents. Pure chaos. Phase 3. Full neighborhood grounds patrol during the annual summer block party. A logistical nightmare. At 5 a.m., I sent the coded message to my lead engineer. New client integration incoming. Anonymous. Client X. High value, high risk. I finally got home as the sun bruised the sky purple. My phone exploded with notifications. 27 missed calls. A screenshot from Cousin Mara, Layla's new Instagram story posted an hour after dinner. Selfie of her and Blake pouting with caption. So tired of fake bosses who think owning a few cute lawns makes them better than everyone else. Some of us work in the real world. Tech is the future, back of house peasants. I saved it. Forwarded to counsel. Exhibit A for the respect clause, time-stamped. My father's voicemail. Elena, that was a spectacle. You embarrassed us. Call me. I deleted it and dialed back. I presented him with a business proposition in a language he understands. It's entirely his choice whether to cross the bridge. My mother's tearful plea. Just apologize for the sake of the family. I texted, I will not be apologizing. One request. At family events, we will not discuss anyone's title or lack thereof. Mine included. Then the email from Blake. Subject. Pilot proposal. He was trying to hide it from his own leadership. Move it to standard B2B negotiation to escape the apron. The gray polo. I replied instantly, attaching the full executed agreement, CCing his CEO, board, and the two nervous angel investors who had guaranteed his credit line. Transparency, I wrote. We believe in total transparency. His bluff was called. An hour later, Uncle Ron called. I just spoke to a friend on Nexus's board. They're 90 days from insolvency. Are you acquiring them, Elena? I smiled. I'm testing them, Ron. Kicking the tires. The final anonymous text arrived. Blake is framing this internally as a massive win he orchestrated. But we all know he needs this deal to vest. He'll do anything. I open my calendar and email Blake, CC everyone, to expedite integration. Let's do a hands-on walkthrough. I'll be on the line at the clubhouse this Saturday at 6 p.m. Sharp. You can shadow me at the compliance station. Come prepared. The trap was set. Saturday's service at the Pinecrest Clubhouse is not an event. It's a controlled storm. I stood at the pass under searing heat lamps, the nerve center where perfectly planned community events become late, cold disasters. At 6:10 p.m., Blake walked through the swinging doors in ill-fitting gray polos, name tag, Simply B. He looked stripped of his identity. You're late, I said, handing him a folded apron-style vest. Tie this on. You're at compliance with me. His eyes widened. Instead of a quiet corner, he was in the volcano. The first 12 minutes were unmitigated disaster. Violation tickets spat out relentlessly. He stared, panicked, misreading numbers, throwing the entire evening's pacing into chaos. A calm presence slid in. Anna, our best crew lead. She didn't scold. She simply plucked the correct ticket, bellowed the order, then turned to Blake. Breathe. Read the ticket. Say the ticket. When you hand a notice to a resident, make eye contact. It's not about the paper. It's about the person. Later, a resident complaint came back. Someone claimed their warning was lukewarm. Blake froze. I leaned in. 3 steps. Own it. Fix it. Thank them. He stammered the apology, got a fresh hot copy, and the crisis was averted in 60 seconds. Something shifted. He started watching. Learning. His calls grew clearer. During a lull, I sent him to the back with bus tubs. I found him in the dish pit, glasses fogged, looking lost. Hector, the head groundskeeper, clapped him on the shoulder and handed him heavy gloves. First time, rich boy. Here, you want to survive? You need these. Later, Marcus Thorne, my regional operations director, sat at the bar in plain clothes, quietly scoring Blake on communication, grace under pressure, and most importantly, respect behaviors. By midnight, the storm passed. Blake, apron-stained, hair a mess, went to every crew member and thanked them sincerely. He finally came to me. Where did you learn all this? The question was genuine. By carrying clipboards, I said, and fines. The following Sunday, I was back in the pressure cooker, my parents' dining room. Layla held court, glowing. You'll never guess what happened. View Clickwhat just agreed to sponsor the engagement party. They're providing all the champagne, a custom tasting bar, even branded gift bags. It's a perfect fit for the clubhouse. A high-end brand like that is exactly what Pinecrest needs. My mother clapped. Elena, isn't that wonderful? You could gift them the ballroom for the reception. It would be your wedding present to your sister. So generous. They were boxing me in, using family and optics to demand a $250,000 handout. I took a deliberate bite of asparagus, then set my fork down. There are 2 ways we can host the party at the Pinecrest Clubhouse. The first is standard market rate. I'll have events send the pricing guide tomorrow. The second is we structure it as a formal charitable fundraiser. You choose a registered nonprofit, and we co-host. PCMG has a community engagement mandate. Those are the 2 options. Layla's face contorted. Market rates? A charity event? Who do you think you are? You were just a rule breaker 2 weeks ago. I reached for my phone and sent her a calendar invite titled Pinecrest Clubhouse Booking Consultation, Standard Terms. She stared, fury and disbelief blazing. The front door opened. Blake walked in different, tired but grounded. No smirk. He placed a small black notebook on the table, pages filled with diagrams of compliance stations, lists of violation codes, phrases like own it, fix it, thank them. He had done his homework. Uncle Ron leaned forward. Blake, Elena, how is the pilot coming? Initial metrics? We're still in data collection, I said. The full KPI dashboard goes live Friday. That will determine viability. And of course, the clause compliance report will determine the final vesting credit. Layla saw an opening. She laughed cruelly. Oh, that's right, your vesting credit. How's that $1 salary working out for you, Blake? The air crackled. Blake looked at his notebook, closed it gently, and spoke quietly but clearly. I accepted it. 2 words detonated the evening. He had publicly chosen my world over hers. Layla looked slapped. The week that followed was war on 2 fronts. Dashboard showed undeniable success. Table turn time down 11%, comped items down 18%, staff turnover risk score fallen for the first time in months. The most beautiful moment, a 90-second bottleneck at the garnish station flagged by Harmony. Blake's engineer called the crew directly and fixed it with a microservice ping. Blake's face lit up with pure builder joy. Then the gossip front exploded. Thursday, I received Mara's text, linked to Layla's Instagram reel filmed in the clubhouse lobby. Funny filter, distorted faces. She zoomed on Anna handling a credit card. Me trying to do math. LOL. Rule breaker problems. Then on a young boozer clearing trays with boring sound effects. Working hard or hardly working. Back of house peasants. My fiancée runs tech. She had tagged Blake. I screen recorded everything and emailed Blake, CCing the entire board. Official warning. Respect conduct clause violation 001. 24 hours to remediate or vesting permanently voided. 10 minutes later, the video was still live. 15. 30. Then Mara sent a screenshot of Layla's private group chat, Blake begging her to take it down. Layla's reply. Can you believe him? He's taking her side. I'm not taking it down. Uncle Ron called Layla. You are about to cost your future husband a seven-figure payday over a stupid video. She hung up on him. At 9:58 a.m. Friday, Blake texted me a shaky video from his car. I'm at her apartment. She won't open the door. I'm begging you, don't blow up the deal. I'll spend the entire day in the back of house. Whatever you want. At 10 a.m., my lawyer filed the official breach notice. Vesting grant voided. Tonight, the engagement party was a spectacle in the grand ballroom of the Pinecrest Clubhouse. Crystals, thousands of white roses, high-gloss influencer dreams. But there was a trapdoor under the velvet carpet. The event was not a gift. It was booked at full market rate by a newly formed entity, Harlan Events LLC, after I had sent their initial request back marked incomplete. Layla, radiant in custom white, unveiled a massive step-and-repeat wall emblazoned with her and Blake's logo surrounded by sponsor logos. She spotted me and waved with malicious joy. Elena, perfect timing. I have the cutest idea for a photo. A real sister supporting sisters moment. She snapped at a passing crew member. Can I borrow your tray? She pushed the empty silver tray into my hands. Hold it. You can stand here like you're serving us. It'll be hilarious, like you're always serving. I held the tray for a beat, letting cameras focus. Then I smiled and turned to Mr. Delgado. Andre, could you please hold this? I handed him the tray. Then I pulled a thick sealed envelope from my evening bag. And could you ensure this gets to the event coordinator immediately? It's the final copy of the venue terms and certificate of insurance. I noticed Harlan Events LLC was late providing their COI, so PCMG had to procure one on their behalf and bill it to their account. We can't have uninsured vendors on the property. Layla's smile faltered. I had just reminded everyone she was not a princess. She was a client. A late-paying client. Later, during toasts, Uncle Ron took the stage. As he spoke about building together, the twin screens lit up. Not the wedding logo, but a live KPI dashboard showing upward curves. Layla grabbed the mic. Thank you, Uncle Ron. It's so true. We're building an empire. And I even want to thank my sister, Elena. She's been so helpful letting us use her cute side hustle to test our world-changing technology. It's so sweet. The crowd tittered. The lights dimmed. I stood and walked to the stage. I looked at my crew lined against the back wall. My name is Elena Voss, and I just want to take a moment. This event is beautiful only because of the people you don't see. Thank you to Andre, to Chef Alera plating 300 perfect entrees, to Anna and Sam leading service, to Hector's team in the dish pit. You are the heart of this community. Genuine applause rose, warm, heartfelt. My crew stood taller. A courier quietly entered and handed sealed envelopes to the Nexus directors and angel investors. Inside, executed option trigger notices. The pilot KPIs were a success. PCMG was formally exercising its right to invest at the preset discount. The screens changed. A compliance summary appeared. KPI performance. Pass. Respect conduct, clause violation, pending. Beside it, a high-res screenshot of Layla's Instagram reel and red text. Remediation window expires 10 a.m. October 20th, 2025. Status expired. The room went dead silent. Blake stood, walked to the stage, and took the microphone. She's right, he said, voice shaking but clear. I'm Blake Harlan. I'm the guy who came to this clubhouse and thought I knew better than all of you. I was wrong. He turned to Layla live in front of 300 people. Layla, the video, please take it down right now. Layla recoiled. Take it down? Here? You're insane. She put you up to this. I gave the AV technician a small nod. The screens changed. A professionally edited 60-second reel played. Not an attack, but a celebration. Old jam ticket printer. New Harmony interface. Table turn time down 11%. Server tips up 22%. 90-second lag eliminated. It ended on a black screen with a staff survey quote. For the first time, I feel like the tech is on my side. It's about respect. I turned to Blake. You call me a lazy rule breaker. You said my language was fines. Here's your tip. The screens changed again. A formal job offer. Director of On-Floor Systems. PCMG/Harmony Joint Initiative. Recipient, Blake Harlan. Compensation, base salary $1. Bonus vested equity tiered to KPI outperformance and staff scored respect metrics. Annual 360 review from frontline crew. The pilot as a corporate entity is a success. PCMG is exercising its option to invest. But your personal vesting credit is void. It's gone. I held his gaze. But I'm offering you a new path. You'll lead the integration, but you'll report to my crew's feedback as much as to me. Take this offer and you lead with us. You earn your value back on grounds. Or walk away right now and the pilot ends tonight. The ballroom held its breath. Blake looked at the crew lined at the back, at Anna, at Hector, then at Layla. It's not humiliation, Layla. It's tuition. He turned to me and gave a single decisive nod. An AV technician brought the tablet. Blake signed, slower, deliberate. The DOCA's sign chimed. The screens refreshed with the executed investment agreement. PCMG now primary investor in Nexus Flow at the pre-negotiated discount. I had not just won the battle. I had bought the battlefield. Layla stood frozen, then with a strangled cry fled the ballroom, white dress disappearing into the night. Her empire of influence crumbled in one public moment. Uncle Ron was already spinning the narrative for the press. My mother moved toward me, but my father gently stopped her. For the first time he saw me, not the difficult daughter, not the rule breaker, but the center of gravity. I walked to the edge of the stage and called into the kitchen, Chef Alara, my thanks to you and your brigade for a perfect service. From deep within came the single sharp ring of the brass service bell, then a second, a third. The brigade salute. I turned, walked straight to the pass, the stainless steel border between chaos and control. I stood there in the heat and the noise at the heart of my real world as the echo of the service bell rang out one last time. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I'd love to know where in the world you're tuning in from. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and give the video a like. And if you really want to support these HOA takedowns, hit that hype button so more people hear how the underdog finally wins.